and by Jacobs Liquor Exchange. Here's the voice of the Shockers, Mike Kennedy.
State, of course, coming off
the
a
Gregg
tough
Marshall
loss
Show.
to the University of Oklahoma on
With Wichita
Saturday by a score of 91-83 at Intrust Bank Arena. But 8-2 on the year, and that one's going to get behind them quickly as the Shockers have 2 games at home this week. Arkansas State tomorrow night at Koch Arena and Florida Gulf Coast on Friday. Those will be the final 2 non-conference games, final pre-Christmas games, and the last time the Shockers play anyone other than American Athletic Conference opponents until the postseason. So looking forward to this week. Coach Marshall will be joining us in just a little bit. This being Monday, this is the day a lot of things come out, and the rankings are out. Wichita State, number 3 in both polls last week, number 11 this week in both polls. Just a little bit farther drop than I thought they might take, but certainly no big deal at this point in the season. Oklahoma jumped from 24 in the coaches poll and just outside the top 25 in the AP to 17th. Baylor is number 18, and then Notre Dame slipped just out of the polls. They are 26 in one and 27th in the voting in another, and both Oklahoma State and SMU receiving votes in the polls this week. Oklahoma State around number 32 in the voting in the AP poll. If you were not aware, they had a really nice road win on Saturday at Florida State. Florida State was ranked 19th and undefeated up to that game, so a really nice road win for Oklahoma State, and they are 8-2 on the year as well. So the Shockers have played a tough schedule. The American Athletic Conference, Bill Potter, who does the statistics and releases and so forth for the American Athletic Conference, has been tracking what he calls the Major 7 basketball conferences, and I think that's legitimate. You know, you hear a lot about the Power 5 and the BCS schools, which is the Power 5 football conferences, but when you look at college basketball, I think you very legitimately can put the American Athletic Conference and the Big East in there as top 6 and 7 conferences, and he has been tracking how all of the conferences are doing against each other, and the American is 18-20 against the other 6 power conferences, and that ranks 4th. They are just behind the, let me think, ACC, Big East, and Big 12, and ahead of the SEC, the Pac-12, and the Big 10. So the AAC doing very well, and Wichita State's had a big role in that. The Shockers have played 6 of their 10 games so far against those other Power 6 conferences and are 4-2 in those games. And so the Shockers with a very good showing. And keep in mind, you know, the great thing is at 8-2 and nationally ranked and all those kinds of things, when you mention Marcus McDuffie, it's not an excuse. It's not like, well, we're only 4-6 because we don't have Marcus McDuffie. The Shockers without Marcus McDuffie, their leading scorer and rebounder from a year ago, are 8-2, including 4-2 against the other best conferences in the country. So that's a pretty significant accomplishment. Now, having said that, Coach Marshall steps in. No coach ever likes to lose. No coach is ever feeling too good about anything after a loss. But, Coach, having had a chance to go over the video with your guys yesterday and so forth, just maybe a general thought wrapping up the Oklahoma game.
We weren't very good, and they were very good. There's a general thought.
That's all right. That's pretty general. You know, it was a strange game in terms of you look at the final statistics, and it doesn't really reveal exactly how the game went. Sometimes it's not how many, but when. And one of the cases is turnovers. You ended up with 10. They ended up with 8, but they outscored you 15-6 on points off turnovers, which obviously the turnovers were a bigger factor than the total number would suggest.
Yeah, and we had some bad shots that also resulted in the equivalent of a turnover. They were able to get runouts and ones and wide open jumpers on some bad shots that we took. I thought an undervalued aspect of that game was the 4 blocks that Jamani McNeese had. We're right in there laying the ball in, and at least twice he doesn't block it, he catches it. We have a hard time replicating that type of length in our practices, and those blocks were timely, and it was 8 points off the board.
Yeah, that was something that a lot of people have mentioned to me, that they can't recall seeing somebody just take a ball with both hands out of the air on a block
and
shot.
again, it's not a good shot when you do that. But we have a hard time replicating it in practice. So our guys are not used to that. And that dude is a very good player. Obviously, Trey Young is tremendous, and we shot the ball at 25% overall from three, and our best two outside shooters, arguably Landry and Connor, go 2 for 11, and that's not going to get it done.
Defensively, it really changed after the half. I mean, you held them to a much lower percentage, and how much of that was any adjustments you made, and how much were you missing assignments in the first half on shots?
Well, we definitely missed some assignments, and we definitely didn't do what we were asking them to do. But as a coaching staff, we have to take some of the burden off these guys and simplify things. Once again, I think we complicated things a little bit with our verbiage to the players. And this particular player, when you're defending a ball screen, I want you to do this. And this particular player, I want you to do this. And in the end, we just didn't do anything very well. So at halftime, we went right back to our principles. This is how we taught it from day one. You have to get out and show your numbers and hedge, which we weren't doing very well in the first half. But then we're not going to do anything special. We did a couple of times. We just totally switched the ball screens, but it was a bad performance from me all the way down. So we just got to do better, and obviously we won't see those guys again unless it's in an NCAA tournament or NIT or something. But I hope it's an NCAA tournament game and it's deep in the tournament and we get a chance to play them again. But they did a great job, and he's obviously a tremendous coach, and they've got some really fine players.
Trey Young was so impressive with, the little floaters and stepping back and shooting shots and long threes that just seemed effortless. But to me, maybe the thing that was most impressive was his ability to see everybody and hit guys just as they're breaking open. I mean, it was really a Fred VanVleet type performance from a passing standpoint.
Yeah, it was. He's a good player. I mean, I just talked to some friends of mine who are in the agent business. A couple of them were just asking me about him, and I said he's really good. And they said he might be player of the year at this point in the college basketball season. 10 games, 11 games in, whatever you've played, he may be the player of the year. He's averaging close to 30 points a game. He's averaging 9 assists. His team is really good. They've lost once to Arkansas, and they've beaten Oregon. They've beaten us. They've beaten Southern Cal. And, when they shoot the ball like that, they're going to beat a lot of people.
Coach Kruger mentioned he thought it was his team's most complete performance of the year. From your team's standpoint, with everything that you've mentioned, do you feel like if you just make a couple of more open shots that it still could have been a different outcome?
Oh, we had chances to make it a real close ball game. But again, every time that was to happen, McNeese would jump up and grab a shot off the right as it's at the peak, and he didn't goaltend. Those were clean blocks. We would turn it over. We would miss a wide open three. We would get a stop and not get the defensive rebound. It was something along those lines, and those things happen. I haven't said this in a long time, but I learned this as a young coach. My mentor, John Kress, used to talk about this. You play 30 games in a season. You play generally 5, 7, 3, but on average about 5 games that are much better than your norm. You play 5 games that are probably not quite your norm, and then there's the 20 games in the middle is who you are. Well, in this case, I think that was hopefully one of our worst 5 performances. I don't know for sure, but I hope that I can say that at the end of the year, that was one of our worst 5 performances. And again, it starts with me and goes all the way down to the end of the bench, down where Kellen and Todd Fagan sit.
Looking at who you've played this year, do you feel like, and you've played good non-conference schedules the best you could play, but do you feel like this has been about as good a non-conference schedule as you've played through 10 games in the season?
Oh, definitely. I've said that many times. I think, it's... We did play the College of Charleston and Savannah State and UMKC, but we also played Marquette and Cal and Notre Dame and Oklahoma and Oklahoma State and Baylor and whoever else. I know that's 6 really good teams. And
South Dakota State.
South Dakota State's another really good team. And the College of Charleston's another really good team. So, you know, we've played arguably 8 teams that could end up in the NCAA tournament.
For those who are not aware, South Dakota State took a good Colorado team to double overtime in Boulder on Friday night. Mike Dahm had 37, and I had a quick little text exchange with Tad Boyle, the coach at Colorado, who, of course, used to be here, and he said, boy, he is the real deal.
Yeah, and they've already beaten, as we mentioned, Ole Miss on the road, and they've already beaten Iowa on the road. So that would have been their 3rd Power 5 scalp, if you will, and we barely survived ourselves. So they're a good team, especially when they get that freedom going and they get some confidence. And that's what they did, and that's what Oklahoma did, and that's what we've got to figure out a way to not allow these teams to get in such a rhythm and get such great looks at 3. Our defense has to get a lot better. We've gotten used to outscoring people. We've got a lot of talent on our team. We've got a lot of guys that can shoot it ourselves, and we've softened, if you will. So the last couple of days we've worked on not being quite so generous and soft.
All right, we will continue with Shocker head basketball coach Gregg Marshall from AJ's Sports Grill at the Alley at our Monday Night Coaches Show.
In any contest, it takes more than just knowing the rules to win big. See, when you add talent, you can get more. Make the winning shot. If you get injured, call the Patterson Legal Group.
All rise.
Get the right players for the right game. Call the good guys and get the power of more.
The good guys are the way to go. Call 687-2400.
Hello, Shocker Nation. This is Cindy Carnahan with the Carnahan Group at J.P. Wygand & Sons. For the past 40 years, the Carnahan Group has been helping the great people of Wichita buy and sell homes, helping with first home purchases, patio homes, and everything in between. Whether you are trading up or paring down, we want you to call on us. Let us put our vast experience, our robust marketing, and our proven systems to work for you. Whether big or small, our service is the same. I promise.
I love Carlos O'Kelly's queso.
Man, that's what I'm going to miss most about Wichita.
Oh, why the refs taking our food?
Whoa, 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 we didn't double dip.
Looks like we won't be going to the monitor for this one. Carlos O'Kelly's queso is for everyone.
So, how many quesos? 36. Got it.
You don't have to be a Shocker legend to love Carlos O'Kelly's queso.
Founded in 1919, Lewis Street Glass is a 4th-generation family business that got its start installing and replacing automotive glass. In these times of cut-rate, no-warranty competition from industry giants, we remain true to our long-standing policy of fair pricing and total customer satisfaction. With service professionals who specialize in automotive work, we offer all types of auto glass services, including door mechanical repairs as well as glass restoration work on classic cars. Lewis Street Glass, where we're proud to be Kansas's oldest glass shop.
It has the power to soften the blow. Break the ice. And melt your heart. A healthy smile is a powerful thing. It deserves Delta Dental, the nation's leading dental benefits provider. Learn more about our individual and family plans at deltadentalks.com.
Welcome back to our Monday get-together with Gregg Marshall, and I'll mention again that we will not be here for a couple of weeks after this one. Next Monday is Christmas. The following Monday is New Year's Day. If they're open, I encourage you to come on out if you want to, but I don't think any of us will be here from 6 to 7 on Monday nights. We'll be back on January the 8th. Coach, in talking about your defense, you know, obviously the number you're giving up in terms of scoring rankles you a little bit, 70.5 points per game. That's certainly well above what we're used to with your teams. On the other hand, you're still 24th in the nation in field goal percentage defense. You're only giving up 38.3%. So there are some positives certainly about your defensive play, even though obviously, as you just stated, it's got to get better.
Yeah. I don't know what the numbers say. I just know that there's too many points going up on the other team's side, so it bothers me. I know we've played a great schedule, but I would rather lose 18-14 than 93-81.
Okay. In maybe talking about some specifics, what are some things that you're really stressing your team that you got to get better at?
We're very bad at defending the three-point line, and I don't know why that is. Other than we're getting beat off the dribble, we're helping, and then boom, and we're playing some good guards, but we're giving up way too many points at the three-point line, and we got to do a better job of that. And we've got to take better care of the basketball. We don't force many turnovers anymore for whatever reason. We used to force more turnovers. Now we're turning the ball over more than our opponents. I'm not happy with that. So those two things right there statistically ring out with me.
And you mentioned this, I think, on last week's show, that it's really about decision making in a lot of cases. There were 10 turnovers total on Saturday, but a couple really came at critical times when you were making a run, making a comeback, and then one was a pass to the post that was ill-advised, and then an attempt to get the ball down court too quickly after a turnover or a defensive rebound, and that just really killed any momentum that you might have been building.
Yeah, I don't know which pass into the post you're talking about, but Landry had a few into the post that were stolen or deflected. Browns was intercepted. Darryl just dropped the ball one time in the first half, which resulted in a run out for them, and then it was Darryl that tried to throw ahead to Austin Reeves, and the athlete Shepard just came around, and it reminded me so much of the game, the pass inbounds to Reeves at the Notre Dame game. But it was a different area of the court, but it was the same play. The guy just beat him to the outside and stole the ball. But we just 10 turnovers is not terrible, but again, the timing. I thought the block shots were a bigger deal. Those are something that we don't usually see, especially the way he did it. He was very effective in patrolling that, and you think you're right in there, you're going to score two, and boom, it goes the other way.
And certainly, we've talked about this too, that jump shots come and go. No matter how good a shooters guys are, you're going to have some days when the jump shots aren't falling, but those are the days when you've got to stop the other guys from making as many if you're going to have a chance to win.
Yeah. Defensive field goal percentage is a huge aspect, and you've heard live by the three, die by the three, and we didn't shoot it very well. We had a lot of toe the line, open threes, just didn't make them. So I don't know what else to say about that.
I have a question I want to run by you. It's one of those things we've talked about in the past, but I get this fan question occasionally, and that is that certainly your team has proven to be effective pressing people when you've needed to, the Cal game being a prime example this year. And so occasionally somebody will ask, well, why don't they press more? Why don't they press all the time? And I wondered if you would be so kind just to talk a little bit about what goes into how much you press and the risk reward of pressing a lot.
Yeah, we pressed quite a bit against Oklahoma. They scored 93 points. I mean, they shredded our press. So every time we pressed, they threw it over and found a shooter in the corner or found a shooter at the top of the key, or they had a great game plan for our press. If we'd have pressed them for 40 minutes, they might have scored like 150.
And that's the thing, is that you certainly make yourself vulnerable. Teams that have a good press offense.
And I'm sure the guy calling in, it probably is a great drywall hanger. But I appreciate his concerns.
How do you, overall, I mean, you just talked about the defense, but 8-2 against a very good schedule. You haven't had Marcus McDuffie. I mean, all in all, no coach is ever satisfied with anything less than whatever the point they are in the season. But how do you feel about where you are right now?
If you'd asked me at the beginning of the season, Marcus McDuffie doesn't play the first 10 games, and Landry's barely healthy when you tip it up in the first game, would you take 10-2 with the schedule that we play? I would have said yes.
All right, we will continue with Coach Marshall. Still a couple of games to go in the non-conference schedule this week. More to come on the Gregg Marshall Show from AJ's.
I'm Coach Gregg Marshall. Making sure my family is well taken care of is important to me. So when it comes to their comfort needs, I trust Welch's Heating and Air. to keep them comfortable and safe.
Welch's, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning customer care dealer, offers award-winning service with a 96% customer satisfaction rating.
I want the best taking care of my family, and so should you. Call Welch's Heating and Air today at 733-1600.
At Bell Mirror and Glass, we know our work reflects our family name, but we also know that what we do reflects on you.
For over 50 years now, Bell Mirror and Glass has created and installed nothing but the finest custom-made glass, mirrors, shower enclosures, and more for your family or business. Visit the gorgeous Bell Mirror and Glass showroom today.
And let what we do reflect on you.
Bell Mirror and Glass. For over 50 years, a reflection of perfection.
So you want to join the popular RV movement? Why not try it before you buy it at Ramsey's RV Rental in Augusta, Kansas? Ramsey's RV Rental has top-of-the-line towable travel trailers that sleep up to 8 for your next getaway, road trip, hunting trip, or tailgate. Small to large, toy haulers too. Many of Ramsey's RV units come equipped with state-of-the-art flat screens, kitchens, bathrooms, and more. Book online now at Ramsey'sRVRental.com, where you could say Ramsey's RV Rental has changed camping into glamping. Ramsey's RV Rental, 316-775-3637.
Liquor Exchange is your one-stop holiday shop.
We have Wichita's best collection of fine wines, with many wine experts to help.
Plus the largest selection of the finest whiskeys of the year.
With over 300 beers to choose, you can buy your favorite or make your own six-packs.
Or shop our amazing selection of champagne and sparkling wine for your New Year's celebration.
Jacob Liquor Exchange, open from noon to 8 p.m. on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve.
Your eyes are often the first to capture important memories. Dress them for the occasion with a new pair of glasses from Howard's Optical. For nearly half a century, Howard's has given you the look you want and deserve. Ask about the ultimate lens package at any of their 4 locations in Wichita: Bradley Fair, Riverside, 13th and Mays Road, and their main store at 5405 East Central. Howard's Optical, a heritage of quality, service, and integrity. Visit howardsoptical.com, proud supporter of Wichita State basketball. Go Shocks!
Welcome back to the Gregg Marshall Show. Wichita State with 2 games at home this week, their last 2 non-conference games before getting into the American Conference play on December 30th. We'll talk about those games coming up, but one thing I did want to ask you about, anything definite yet on when Marcus may return to practice or that sort of thing?
He has a big doctor's appointment tomorrow, which will go a long way to determining when he's going to be able to get back out there. He looks great on the sidelines. I mean, he's become increasingly frustrated. I see it. I mean, he's not the normal jovial, 100% happy-go-lucky, happiest kid in the world. This is really grinding on him now every time we play these games against whoever. I mean, and he's got a frown on his face, and I don't like to see that. I hate that for him. So for him, more than anyone, just get him back out there, get him healthy. And obviously, he makes a difference in our team. I mean, he's a pretty good player. He only led us in scoring and rebounding last year, but I think he will. My issue is going to be when and where, how much to get him in the minutes. The minutes are going to. We had a tough video session today, and I'm sitting there going, okay, this is what you're doing, and pretty soon this guy right here is going to be eligible and healthy. And I asked him, I said, Marcus, do you expect to play? And he goes, yes, coach. And I go, well, how much? He goes, 25 minutes a game. And I go, okay. So you got 5 guys at 40 minutes a game. That's 200 minutes total that I have to distribute amongst all of you. Are they going to now give us 225 minutes? They're going to just add that to it. We're going to play 6 guys for 25 minutes? He goes, I don't think so. I said, no. So where are those minutes going to come from? And they're going to come from everybody else who's sitting in this room who's playing. And it's going to be very difficult. I've always had these mid-year transfers. They're hard to work in. They really are. You've got a system. You've kind of got roles established, and then boom. But in this particular case, this guy's been with us for 2 years. I mean, it's not like he doesn't know what we're doing. and it's going to be a plus if we handle it the right way as coaches, and we'll have to massage some egos because somebody's minutes are going down, and that's just a given fact. But he's a good player, and I'm happy that he's almost healthy. And I think it's going to be real soon. I don't think it'll be tomorrow, but it's going to be real soon.
And ideally, if everything goes the way you would like it to, and the fact that he can play 3 and 4, ideally do those minutes kind of come from several different guys who may lose a couple of minutes here and there individually.
Yeah, yeah. The answer is yes. It's going to come from several different guys. And for me, I don't care. I've always said I don't care where you played high school basketball or junior college basketball. I don't care your size or your ethnicity or your grade point average. As long as you're working towards a degree and not causing problems off the court, you get an opportunity to play. My job is to try to find the best 5 to put out there that give us a chance to win. And he's usually one of those best 5. So it's going to be interesting, and it's going to be difficult, and it's going to be a challenge for our coaching staff, and it's going to be a challenge for the players too, because they're going to have to suck up their ego a little bit and understand that we're trying to win. And I don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to happen soon, and it's going to play out, and who knows.
Samaje returned to practice toward the end of last week, played some minutes on Saturday, and do you feel like they've kind of gotten a handle on things where you can start to look forward to having him in practice? And
I think we've figured out the stomach issue. Now, the problem is in the last week to 10 days or however long it's been that he's been over there with the stomach issue, he's lost his rhythm, he's lost his conditioning, and it showed on Saturday. He wasn't the same, and he's not where we need him to be, and I've told him that very pointedly. And hey, Deshaun Smith made a great contribution in our win against Oklahoma last year. He's no longer here. You're here, and we need you to make that similar contribution. And he's a wonderful kid, Samaje, but I don't think he's ever been directly confronted when he doesn't do the right thing like he is now. And he's having to adjust to that. And I think in the end, he's going to be better for it, and he's going to really help us. And I hope it's sooner rather than later.
I've been asked a couple of times. I think that C.J. Kaiser is a young man that's probably less known by a lot of the fans than anybody, and because he hasn't had a chance to play a lot of minutes since he's been here, but a really talented kid. And it may not be soon when we're talking about all these minutes, but what things does he have to get better at? What does he have to continue to do to earn more playing time?
I have to be able to trust C.J. Kaiser and trust him in every phase of his life, and be able to count on him. There's got to be some I can count on guys. I can count on Landry Shamet, and I can count on Rashard Kelly doing the right thing every single second of the day, and knowing that they're going to work hard, be leaders, and do what we ask them to do on and off the court. I've got to be able to count on C.J. Kaiser, and he's a good person, okay? He's made some mistakes, and he's paid for those mistakes, and now he's got to get back. He's got to beat somebody out. He's got to show me in practice that he's better than whoever. And again, it's going to be a difficult scenario. I mean, it's going to be harder when Marcus comes back. It's not going to be easier. We're just adding another guy that's going to eat into those 200 minutes. So C.J. Kaiser is a wonderful athlete, and I really want him to be very good and to help us, but I don't want to lose games in proving that he deserves to be out there. He's got to do that in practice.
And obviously, you'd like to get Asbjorn a few minutes here and there, but once again, it's the numbers game's really getting to be difficult now.
I know. It's like in the NFL. When you lose a game, everybody thinks the backup quarterback is the best player on the roster, And it's amazing how often I'm asked about guys that don't play. And, we lost a game, and there's guys on the bench that don't play, all right? But in the end, I'm paid to evaluate who should be out there. And if If I'm not the guy that should be evaluating and putting the right guys on the floor, then they got to get somebody else to take my spot. I would gladly walk away. They could fire me tomorrow. I'll gladly walk away, and I'll take that little chunk of change that they owe me as I walk out the door. But until then, they've got to trust me.
And the reason I asked specifically about Asbjorn is it was, I know, kind of a difficult decision about maybe redshirting or trying to get him as much game experience as you can this year. And there is some benefit, obviously, if he can get in occasionally.
There is, and I want to get him in. And he may get in tomorrow. Tomorrow and the next game, there's going to be some chances now, and if guys continue to fall on the floor and stay on the floor, then his chances become greater. And I'm gonna continue to work with him and figure out, when that opportunity is going to come. But I hope that I can get him in tomorrow for sure. Even though this team doesn't get blown out, they've lost 7 games, they've won 4. But every game that they've lost, they've been in. So they're competitive, and they're well coached, and they're going to come in here thinking, okay, what do we rank today? I don't even know.
11th.
We fell to 11th, so we're still 11th. That's still a number by your name, and they're going to come in here, oh, we can beat the number 11 team in the country, and they're going to be jacked up and ready to go, and we're going to have to play.
We will continue with Shocker head coach Gregg Marshall, Wichita.
There's espresso mocha cream topped with chocolate-covered espresso beans, salted caramel java with coffee-infused butter and drizzled with salted caramel, double vanilla layered with vanilla cream and finished with a scoop of vanilla ice cream, and everyone's favorite, pumpkin spice made with real pumpkin, starting at just $4.99 for a limited time, only at IHOP.
As a coach, I know numbers are important. Ultimately, everything we do will be judged objectively by a score and a record. Great teams produce great results. When it comes to home health care, Serenity Home Health is not only the hometown team, they are the champs. Medicare has awarded Serenity Home Health a near perfect quality score of 4.5 out of 5 stars, putting them among the very best in the nation. I trust Serenity Home Health, and you should too. Call 866-2929 to set up a free consultation.
Ever wonder what's in a beer? If it's a Bud Light, it's 4 essential ingredients: barley, rice, water, and hops. Here's to the beer you can always count on, brewed to be America's favorite light lager.
Winning takes hard work, commitment, and accountability. I'm Wichita State coach Gregg Marshall, and I believe in challenging our team, like switching leagues. And so does the hometown team at All Angles Collision Repair. They're in a league of their own, the very best. All Angles has the right people, processes, and prompt service, providing state-of-the-art collision repair with 100% customer satisfaction. All Angles, the winning team in auto body repair. All Angles!
Hi, I'm Gregg Marshall, coach of the Wichita State Shockers men's basketball team, and I'm here to talk to you about Dillon's. Now, I know a thing or two about committing yourself to excellence. That's why I love Dillon's. Because the Dillon's team is committed to high-quality food, low prices, and the kind of friendly service that makes you feel right at home. So next time you're having a party or a tailgate to cheer on the team, stop by Dillon's for your favorite food and drinks. Go Shockers! Great food, low prices at Dillon's.
So we'll be back here at AJ's on January the 8th. The Shockers with a couple of non-conference home games coming up this week. Also, Alex Lomax, one of your recruits, was on national TV this past week. I know a lot of people watched him. And was it last week you were going to go see Eric Stevenson as well?
Yes. I went out to Olympia, Washington on Wednesday, my day off, and saw Eric tie, I think, the school record for scoring in a career, and had 28 in a win against a pretty good team, Capital High School, who had beaten them last year in a very important regional type game. So then, since then, he's played a couple of games, and they lost their first game. They lost they lost the game after Capital. First game since I was there, and then he had like 31, he had 33, and the next game, I think they played in a weekend tournament or doubleheader or something, because they played back-to-back nights. He's playing very well. A lot of energy, a lot of just loves the game, loves to work. I mean, he's going to be a good one. He's a 2-guard, 6'3.5". He's not much bigger than me. He says he's 6'4", 6'5", but he's not much bigger than me, but he could possibly grow. His dad grew like 7 inches after college, and his dad is 6'9". So there's a possibility Eric can grow, because he wears a size 15 shoe. I asked him, I said, do you have socks in the end of that shoe, or is that all your foot? Because it doesn't look right. He's a size 15. But his family, his coaches, I mean, he's got a wonderful support staff. So he will feel very at home in Shocker Nation with all the love and all the adoration that you get here as a player that does the right things on and off the court. Then Alex Lomax, his mom and his dad, flew in from Memphis through Dallas and watched our game on Saturday. And I was just so disappointed to see them. And, you know, we win the great majority of our games here in Wichita. We win almost all of them in Coke Arena. And then we just lay that egg in the downtown arena in trust. But they came into the locker room afterwards, and our players embraced him and his family. And when he left on Sunday morning, he told Kyle Lindstedt, I just wish I didn't have to go. I wish I could be here now. And that's really cool. And he's a tremendous lead guard. He's a point guard. And he's always wins. He's Fred Van Vliet. He always wins. He's not a fantastic scorer or a guy that's going to dunk it behind his head, but he does everything to help his team win. He's just a tremendous quarterback leader, and his family's they're just wonderful people. And when I encountered them after addressing my team after the game, Melanie Shamit was exchanging phone numbers with Kamisha Jefferson, who is Alex Lomax's mom, and they were just talking and exchanging numbers, and it was so cool to see. I mean, from one generation to the next, let me reach out to you, call me anytime, this is how we do things. And it was really good. I'm going to go see Alex play in early January, either the 5th or the 9th. And then I'm going to see the 2 guys that are in Sunrise Christian Academy real soon. Chance Moore had 42 points the other day in a Sunrise Christian Academy game. Morris Udeze has had 30 points and 25 points in back-to-back games at a very high-level prep school down in Florida, Mount Verde prep school. And then who am I missing? The junior college player, Jaime Echenike. He's the only junior college player, and his team's winning. So they don't throw it into him a lot as a junior college post player. It's mostly a guards game. It's like but he's blocking shots and he's rebounding and scoring. And I'm gonna try to get down and see all of those guys play. So with all those kids that we signed, it's going to be a workout to follow them all and get there. But we've already started.
You touched on something, the atmosphere and so forth, and it just reminded me there were a couple of things I think people should be aware. On Twitter, there was a huge exchange. Landry Shamit, after the game, said something about it sucks to lose, I hate losing, but the support here is unprecedented. And just, I love Wichita, I love these people, and everybody right back at him with, hang in there, we're behind you, we got your back. And then Tom Crean, his first visit here, the former Marquette and Indiana coach who was on the telecast, tweeted something about just what an incredible level of support it was and the atmosphere from the time the doors opened until the game was over, and that's always nice to see.
Listen, he was at Marquette, and I can tell you, because we went up there at Winthrop when I was at Winthrop, and we played in the Pepsi Blue and Gold Classic that they've had probably 60 years now. And we were one of the few teams that ever, other than Marquette, to win that thing, and we won it. And the support that he had at Marquette was incredible. I remember Jim Schaus, when he hired me, he pointed to Marquette and said, that's who we want to be like. And they have unbelievable fans and tremendous support, physical and physical support. And he has, then he went to Indiana. And who has more rabid support than the University of Indiana for college basketball? So he's seen it, and for him to say that is really nice.
All right, you're listening to Shocker head coach Gregg Marshall. We're going to talk about this week's opponents here at Koch Arena when we continue on our weekly coaches show.
In today's world, connections are everything, which makes your Wi-Fi even more important. With Cox high-speed internet, you can get the latest equipment and access to super fast in-home Wi-Fi. You also get the security you need to protect your privacy. And when you travel, we're right there with you, giving you access to more than 500,000 Wi-Fi hotspots across the country. At home or away, Cox has you covered. Learn more with the Cox Discover More video series at cox.com/learn.
What happens when you register your Cox account and get a user ID and password? You open up a world of possibilities for all your Cox services, like access to live TV and on-demand shows with the Contour app, and TV network apps to watch on the go. Cox Security Suite Plus, powered by McAfee, and phone tools to keep you connected when you leave home. Discover what you can do. Check out the Cox Discover More video series at cox.com/learn.
With Cox high-speed internet, you get access to super fast in-home Wi-Fi to power all your devices and do the things you love online. And now, when you're traveling, you have free access to the nation's largest Wi-Fi network with over 500,000 hotspots, so you can stay connected in places such as New York City, Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., Phoenix, and many more. Learn how with the Cox Discover More video series at cox.com/learn. In today's world, connections are everything, which makes your Wi-Fi even more important. With Cox high-speed internet, you can get the latest equipment and access to super fast in-home Wi-Fi. You also get the security you need to protect your privacy. And when you travel, we're right there with you, giving you access to more than 500,000 Wi-Fi hotspots across the country. At home or away, Cox has you covered. Learn more with the Cox Discover More video series at cox.com/learn.
What happens when you register your Cox account and get a user ID and password? You open up a world of possibilities for all your Cox services, like access to live TV and on-demand shows with the Contour app, and TV network apps to watch on the go. Cox Security Suite Plus, powered by McAfee, and phone tools to keep you connected when you leave home. Discover what you can do. Check out the Cox Discover More video series at cox.com/learn.
Welcome back to the Gregg Marshall Show. Wichita State with 2 games at home this week. Also, finals completed. So this is that time of year when you have more time to practice and the guys are totally focused on basketball. And I know every year that's an important time to improve and work on things.
It's a happy time for coaches and not so happy time for players.
And do you feel like some of the things you talked about earlier, that it's perfect timing to be able to spend some extra time on some of those things?
Like today, I said, here, okay, here's the schedule. It says once we're warmed up, it's 1 hour and 45 minutes. But we're going to go until I like the 1 hour, 45 minutes. So this segment that lasts 8 minutes may take 24 minutes. It's up to you, really. So, yeah, we went a little longer than 1 hour 45 today, but we finally satisfied all the things that we need to satisfy.
Arkansas State tomorrow night, kind of an interesting team. They had won 20 games a year ago. They've got 3 senior starters back. And as you mentioned, a little bit of a rough start. They're 4-7, but one of those teams that's certainly dangerous with their experience.
Everybody's dangerous in college basketball. I mean, Steve Forbes went into Xavier and had like a 17-point lead in the second half at Xavier. We texted back and forth last night. I didn't do enough to help my team. I said, listen, before the Oklahoma game, I'm getting dressed in the locker room there, and I can't keep my phone from the ESPN app trying to follow the East Tennessee State Buccaneers and their valiant effort to try to beat the number 10 ranked Xavier Musketeers. And Xavier I didn't know the final score. It had gotten down to like 3 minutes to go in the game, and East Tennessee State was still leading by 5 or 6 points, and I'm thinking, gosh, just hang on. And he couldn't hang on. They lost by 2. I asked Kellen, my son, I said, did East Tennessee State win after our loss? And he goes, no, they lost by 2. And I just was so disappointed. And I knew I'd be hearing from him and just disappointed. Chris Jan's got a big win against Illinois in Chicago over the weekend, and they're doing very, very well. LSU and Gregg lost to Stephen F. Austin over the weekend. So you never know. College basketball is incredible. Ball State goes into Notre Dame and wins. I mean, you gotta be on your guard every night, especially when you wear a name like Wichita State now, and also a number, which means you're ranked. People want to beat ranked teams. They want, even if they're not very good, it can make their season. It can give them an extra pop in their step and some added value to what they've been able to accomplish with their season.
What impresses you about Arkansas State from what you had a chance to look at?
Well, unfortunately, they're a great ball screen team, and we have not defended the ball screen very well. So with all those post players, you might see some shuffled post players tomorrow, because if I don't get help on the turn, we call it a strong hedge. If we don't get that tomorrow, then you're going to see me you're going to see Asburton really quickly, because I'm just going to keep going through the deck and trying to find somebody that'll get out there and deter that point guard from turning the corner and just having his world open up for him with shooters everywhere and all that. You've got to get out and stop the dribbler, or at least force him to go in an opposite direction from where he wants to go.
So far, I mean, we talked about the caliber of people you've played. Do you feel like you've gotten some pretty good looks at different things, and beyond just the level of talent and ability of the teams you've played, that you've seen some different things that you've had to adjust to and so forth?
I do, Mike. That's a good question. We've seen from Oklahoma State, which is deny every single pass in the front court, to Cal, who wanted to press back to that zone. Notre Dame, who tried to play us man-to-man, that went strictly zone in the second half. Baylor plays all zone. Oklahoma with their tempo and how fast they play. One of the 2 teams that plays faster than Oklahoma is Savannah State. We saw that. South Dakota State with their pick and roll and space the floor and shoot the 3. College of Charleston plays a little bit more like us, because Earl Grant spent so many years with me, and they were just traditional, more just traditional, I would say. So, yeah, we've seen a lot of different styles, but in the end, you never know what you're going to get in that NCAA tournament. You never know what you're going to get the next game in this American Conference. I mean, I have no idea how these teams play. I'm focused on Arkansas State, and after tomorrow, I'll be focused on Florida Gulf Coast.
And is it true also that, generally speaking, besides just seeing all these different things and different possibilities, that obviously everybody that's going to play you looks at video and they see what maybe somebody's done against you that worked, and so chances are pretty good you're going to see it again from someone if it was something maybe you had a little bit of trouble with.
Yeah, and we continue to work on it. You know, we work on our normal stuff. We work on us every day in practice. And then, because of this now, especially until school starts again, I don't have any time constraints. So I can spend 15 minutes not just working on us, but working on things that we haven't done well or we've seen with the other team. So today was pick and roll defense, and it worked beautifully because the way Oklahoma shredded us. Now we've got Arkansas State that comes in, and that's what they do. I don't think they have a Trae Young type of point guard. I hope they don't, but we'll see.
Do you, is this kind of a time of the season, because you have a lot of different stuff you can do, offenses and defenses, and certainly a lot of different plays. And some years I know you run some things more than others. And is this a point in the season where you're starting to get a feel for this particular team and what kinds of things maybe you do need to do a little more of, or stuff maybe you haven't done too much yet that you want to put in and do a little more with?
Well, because of the question you asked previously, we're constantly working on different styles. And, it's not a style that we employ, so it's different when we start to play against it, and we have to try to simulate it in practice with our scout team, and that's difficult. We haven't played traditional basketball very often. When's the last time a team played us 40 minutes of man-to-man?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They just don't do it. So Oklahoma did, because they got the big lead, and they could. And then they had Jumanji McNeese back there defending the basket. But no, it's been an interesting year with all the different styles and all the different, and it's got to help us down the road.
I know that your attention right now is on Arkansas State, but Florida Gulf Coast, an interesting team coming in here on Friday. They're a program that came to national attention the same year you made your run to the Final Four, the Dunk City group. And Joe Dooley there now, who was a former KU assistant, been around the game for a while, and another very dangerous and kind of exciting team to watch. Yeah,
I met Joe Dooley when he was an assistant coach at South Carolina, and then he became a head coach at East Carolina, which is a tough place to coach. And he actually got fired there, and he ended up back with Coach Self at KU and did a great job for them. He's an awesome guy and great coach. So he had some chances to leave there last year. He decided to stay. This is a very talented team, lots of points, lots of rebounds, lots of experience coming back. And they've been up and down. I mean, that's, again, college basketball. It's every night you have to, put on your hard hat, your steel-toed boots, and go to work. But they just recently won. Well, they lost. They lost to Oral Roberts, maybe?
Yes.
Which didn't make any sense to me because they've had some great wins this year, but who knows how we just got to hope they don't play great against us and we play really well.
Coach, thank you. We'll look forward to the 2 games this week, and we'll be back here in about 3 weeks for the Coaches Show next time.
Okay, happy holidays.
Thanks to you too, Coach. Shocker head coach Gregg Marshall, Wichita State again tomorrow night against Arkansas State. That is a 7 o'clock tip-off, and might keep in mind Friday night's game with Florida Gulf Coast, a 6 o'clock tip-off, which is obviously a little earlier than usual, and then about an 8-day break between games before the Shockers open American Athletic Conference play. And where do they open? At UConn, certainly one of the iconic programs in all of college basketball and one of the best-known names in this new conference the Shockers are getting into. So should be fun. Fun for me, exciting for the fans, hard work for the coaching staff. And we'll be back here on January 8th with Coach Marshall. Coming up next, head coach Keitha Adams talks about the Shocker women's basketball team on a 3-game winning streak heading into their final non-conference game before conference play as they'll host South Dakota State, a very difficult opponent, on Wednesday night. So Steve Strain, Coach Adams coming up next. Again, thank you for joining us for the Gregg Marshall Show, and we'll be back here January 8th for that.
With Cox High-Speed